Vitruvian is a hardware device that is about the size of a doormat. It's a piece of hardware that arrives into your home in a box. You roll it out, you plug it in, you turn it on, you do your training. You can do a few kilos of lightweight repetitions on any sort of strength move you want to do, all the way up to over 400 pounds worth of squats or deadlifts or bench presses. So we've built simply the most convenient, effective and efficient ways to train, and we're thrilled to bring them to the world.
Welcome back to the Fitt Insider Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Veneri. Today I'm joined by Jon Gregory, founder and CEO of Vitruvian, a connected strength company. In this episode, Jon explains how his background in physics and experience as a high-frequency trader led him to start the company. We discuss Jon's vision to build a fitness technology platform that transforms resistance training, and we talk about the economic and operational challenges facing the industry. Let's get into it. Hi, Jon. Welcome to Fitt Insider. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Joe. Great to meet you, and thanks for inviting me on.
Yeah.
Thrilled to be here.
Likewise, excited to chat today. Looking forward to learning more about everything that you're working on, but maybe to kick things off, can you introduce yourself and tell us about Vitruvian?
Sure. My name's Jon Gregory. I'm the founder of Vitruvian, which is a connected strength product and service offering. We've been running for 3.5 years now, off the back of, I would say, a decade or more of thinking and planning and prototypes and proofs of concepts. So that's me, and that's Vitruvian.
Yeah. And when you say, so in terms, I want to talk about kind of you said 10 years of prototyping. That's quite a while thinking about this problem and starting to work on it. But in its current form, what is the product platform? Kind of how long has it been in market, and how's that going?
Yeah, thanks. So Vitruvian is a hardware device that is about the size of a doormat, although a fair bit more sophisticated than a doormat. It's a piece of hardware that arrives into your home in a box. You roll it out, you plug it in, you turn it on, you do your training. You can do, a few kilos of lightweight repetitions on any sort of strength move you want to do, all the way up to over 400 pounds worth of squats or deadlifts or bench presses. So you could pack an awful lot of workout and training into a small, elegant form factor device that you can put anywhere in your house. You don't have to fix it to the wall. You don't have to build a room for it. Put it anywhere in your house, in front of your TV, just where you've got room, in your garage, and work out. And if you want to, then when you're finished, you can roll it away, put it under the couch, put it under your bed. We think we've built simply the most convenient, effective and efficient ways to train, and we're thrilled to bring them to the world. We're on our second generation product now. First generation product we launched in the height of the pandemic, just because we were desperate to get product to people. Right now, ramping up production in our second generation product, which it's a product that I'm very proud of, and I'm thrilled to be bringing to the world.
Yeah, it's this idea when you think about the smart strength category, this idea of like, how do we take and make weightlifting accessible in a home where it's not, stacks of thousands of pounds of weight or big bulky squat racks, or even in the, more basic sense, like I forget what it was called, but it was like that, the one weight stack that had all the different pieces of equipment around it. You could do like a leg press or the curls or the bench press, all from like that central piece of equipment. Like that's what used to be the home kind of strength training center. And then it was like a Bowflex, and then it was like some other things. So you said 10 years or a long period of time developing this. When did you start thinking about the idea? How did it, make that evolution from, hey, I know this is something that is interesting to me and maybe I'm tinkering with, to a company, and then, raising funding for that and so on? If you could take us through that timeline.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, I grew up in Australia. I took a degree in applied physics from a university here, but then spent my first career in quantitative trading, of all things, doing what ended up being high-frequency statistical arbitrage. I worked for banks and hedge funds, and then I started my own trading company through the GFC and beyond. And it was a great time to be trading, and we had a lot of fun in our own trading room that we built. And in the back of the trading room was that's just a set of weights, because we'd work out when the market was quiet. And that was sort of 2008, and it was the genesis of the idea that here we are doing, cutting edge trading, high frequency, co-located machines and high frequency algorithms. And just behind us, we're pushing metal around. It seemed incongruous. It seemed stupid. It seemed like in the 21st century we should be doing something. We should be able to apply technology to resistance training to make it more effective, adaptive, full of data, full of insights. This is before mobile. This is before social, before before all the technologies that we take for granted now. And it started as an idea, and I thought it would be possible. I thought I could figure it out. So again, when the markets were quiet, I was back on my physics tools, trying to piece together the fundamentals of how you do this. And then post trading, 2010 onwards, I'd done well enough out of my trading career that I could spend time just doing what else I thought was interesting. And Vitruvian kept coming up, or the idea of this smart piece of hardware that I could put in my home that was full of data and adaptive, and it just seemed like a good idea. It seemed like that I could do it, and I kept working on it. I bought bits and pieces, I put them together in my shed, and it actually did work, and I actually could do it. And so I did it once, and then I thought, I'll do it again. I'll get the next one, and it got better, and it got better, and it got better, and I'm like, wow! To the point where in 2018, I'm like, I think we really do have something here. I think, and it started getting, well, I guess I proved to myself that it was possible, and that I could figure a bunch of it out. And then started using it, and thought, not just only is it possible, and I think we can do this. I started finding it was actually super beneficial as well, and super, maybe you can train more effectively. And that was I think we made full-blown discoveries back in 2018, 19 of just how effective resistance training can be if you throw technology at it to make the experience adaptive and progressive. Yeah, so that was a lot of how we got the company to the founding stage. And through that time was the rise of social and fitness influencers, which, they're ubiquitous now, and we sort of don't imagine a time when they never existed. But it wasn't that long ago when none of this ecosystem existed at all. But then, so 2015, 2016, I'm like, what's this Instagram thing? And I, I'm an old guy, so I was a bit late to the party. I downloaded, and there's all these amazing people who are just super credible, really know what they're doing in fitness, and have big followings and growing followings, but didn't have much to do with that following. They were maybe selling drinks or selling bikinis or something like that. And I thought, well, maybe with the application of some hardware, we could build an ecosystem where, amazing fitness influencers and coaches and credible people in the industry can have a platform to reach people in the home. So that was that should work. It was kind of the aha moment of, I think that should work, and I think I could do it. And that was sort of 2016. And I think it'd be good enough that I think people will like it. And that was enough to go, let's just have a crack. And so the prototypes got better and better to the point of, at late 2018, I showed it to a local friend who's a venture investor and an angel investor, and he said, right, well, here's $100,000. So I thought, I didn't think it was that good. But okay, he gave me 100, I put in 100, and away we went, founded the company and got running. And then over the next little while, the capital journey was, what became an angel round of around $1 million, which I put in about 600 myself. In 2019/20, it was kind of dribbling in bits of money. And then we did a seed round in 2020 at some of the depths of the pandemic for about $2.5 million. And then we did a pre-series A round in April or May 2021 of about $8.5 million. And we've just done a series A round now of 15 million. And that's got us to where we are now, which is, I think, still a very lean company, still a company that's trying to punch above its weight, but a second generation product that's in market and being very well received, and we're solving problems for customers, and we just can't wait to do more of that now.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible to hear, going from just looking at that stack of weights kind of in the office when you're not trading, and thinking about, hey, how can we apply technology that's, I've heard a lot of stories about how, people think about bringing technology to different aspects of fitness. And I haven't heard the one of like sitting at the trading desk, looking at the weights in the back of the room and thinking about, applying their physics background to re-engineer this. So definitely a unique story in that respect.
It's not the sort of career advice I give to my children. Let me tell you, it's just like it's not a good path you can follow. But it's certainly been exciting and thrilling for me to be involved every day on cutting edge things and things that are difficult and challenging to me, and let me try and be my best. I don't think any of us can ask any more than that in our lives and what we do.
Absolutely. As part of it, you talked about, the technology piece, bringing that to it, and then the data, and then also this idea of maybe like a trainer coach marketplace. So maybe we can talk about each one of those. I guess the first question being different products kind of in this category, electrical motors, magnets, some combination of both. What's like actually powering it? And is it, I guess, different than existing options that are on the market?
Sure. I mean, we use electromagnetism, which is what basically everyone uses who is trying to do electric resistance. So we have a particular take on it, which is, for various reasons, like a technology suite that we've chosen. But more or less everyone will be trying to do the same things with their own particular flavour, if that helps. Really what it is fundamentally is the application of technology disrupting yet another way that humans do things. And that's why it's so exciting to be involved in it, because technology disrupts everything. And when you throw the kitchen sink at it, you can end up building just so much value for customers. Take my iPhone, for example. It's just an amazing pile of value that enables things that you can do now that who would have ever thought possible. You can find where you are on the face of the earth to within 1 meter. I mean, it's a phone, for goodness sake. Who came up with that? It's amazing piece of value. So Vitruvian is focusing on not being on a broad and general application of technology, from how we put tension on the cables to how we connect to the machine, to how we connect that machine to the user, to how we connect to the cloud to record and present data, and how we build community through technology. We just take the ecosystem, or take the environment and throw technology at it wherever we can. And you end up building a bucket of value, which is so deep and so rich that almost any consumer can find their own path of value within that proposition. So a bit of a ramble, but Vitruvian is not just a piece of hardware. It's not just software. It's not just algorithms. It's a full-blown technological assault on how resistance training is done. And the results are sometimes surprising, but always full of value for customers, so that they can train just more conveniently than they ever have before, more effectively than they thought possible, with more insight and with more compulsion than ever before. So, and these are just great things to be throwing at customers. So does that answer your question? It's a bit vague.
No, I think that perspective is helpful in thinking about how you're approaching it from this broad perspective, and not saying like, oh, it's this piece of hardware, or it's what's powering the hardware. It's this comprehensive kind of platform or ecosystem that you're applying to resistance training, which, for the most part had no technology applied to it until recent years. So when you take that a step further, you talk about the data piece and you talk about the software piece. I think for the kind of average person who goes to the gym or maybe has a set of dumbbells at their house, they don't necessarily understand like progressive overload. They don't understand how to stress the muscles. They don't understand, maybe when to go heavier, when to go lighter, even when to know to do that. So how does that all factor into the data piece and the software piece that you mentioned being part of this broader kind of platform?
Yeah. Like, this is a big project. Don't get me wrong. Like, Vitruvian plans to be fitness and strength technology company and technology provider. So we plan, over the long term to be delivering the best technology we can come up with wherever people want to train, whether that be in the gym or the home or in a studio or with a one-on-one coach. So we start with that kind of mindset of we're building a technology company that improves and brings technology to this domain, and we don't get to. Although we lead with a product which is an at-home product, we have a much bigger vision for what we're actually doing here. So we do that so that we can appeal to the broadest range of users, which you have to do if you want to build a mass market product and a global company. You have to think very, very broadly, because every single person who approaches Vitruvian technology approaches it with their own unique set of experiences, knowledge, and understanding. So we have to build, daily an environment which lets people enter the ecosystem and get what they want out of it. It needs to be able to understand where they're coming from and give them what they want, so that they're able to keep progressing on their journey, and maybe, prompt them and promote them and encourage them on that journey as well. So, that's tricky, and it's a big project. So someone like yourself is obviously very well trained and knows what he's doing. You need to be able to get in and work out how you want to, and be able to, maybe use the latest technology to progress and to load the eccentric phase heavier than you've ever felt before, and really put your muscles under tension in a way that you've never experienced before, so that you can get new gains. Someone else might not have a clue, but they just know that they need to do resistance training because maybe they're my age, maybe they're in their 40s, and they just need to do something for their general health and well-being to stop the muscle wastage which happens as you get older. So for them, we need to find a pathway which is classes and programming that lets them find their own journey into getting the most out of it for them. So it has to be incredibly personalized, and it's a big job, and I think we're doing quite a good job of it now, and it'll only get better in months and years to come. Focus on the individual, and give them the best experience that we can, and the best results that we can through technology. And I don't see how that can lose.
When it comes to the different individualized kind of programming and what people are seeing and accessing from a coach or class perspective, how does the kind of content piece dovetail into the platform? Is that a subscription? Is that a varied offering based on what you're subscribing to? Can you just kind of lay that out?
Yeah, so it's simple at the moment. We charge $39 a month US dollar subscription for all you can eat classes, programming, single workouts, build your own workout, build a workout and share it with others, and all the community aspects that we're starting to build into the company now, and current app, future apps, TV app. It's just $39 a month. Connects your machine into the ecosystem, and then any number of people can use it, and can use the fully functioning software and content, which is more or less industry standard, I would say. The industry participants that are listening will know what I'm saying, in that these value propositions are expensive to put together, and they're difficult to put together, and they're very valuable when you do it. And one of the core ways that makes the whole thing work is the ability to charge a membership fee. Because if we're just a hardware company, we'd have to charge a lot more for the equipment to make it a viable business, and we would shrink our market size for that and buy that. So charging a membership fee allows us to get an amazing value proposition into the hands of customers at about the cheapest possible way to do it and build a viable business at the same time. So that's how we do memberships, and that's how we think about memberships as well. We just want to cram as much value into it as possible, and more or less customers understand that and are happy to pay.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very much necessary for the overall just kind of stability and viability of the company, and also the value proposition to the consumer. They what they're getting out of it over the kind of lifetime of use. Another piece of that you mentioned that I thought was interesting was that Vitruvian being a fitness technology company and that having aspirations to kind of be everywhere that people access exercise or work out. So whether that's commercial or residential, and you were kind of starting with this at-home piece, both just given what you had developed and kind of where the market was, and then expanding from there. I think that's an interesting kind of perspective. Not that ultimately a lot of the at-home companies don't go into commercial or hospitality or whatever it might be, but there was a period of time where the kind of industry, in some of the bigger brands, we're kind of talking about, we're only going to work out at home and we're going to disrupt the gym, and this is going to be the end of the gym, and people aren't going to work out in gyms anymore. And you were kind of saying like, hey, no, we're going to be there. We want to develop technology and revolutionize this everywhere. Can you talk about how you think about that? And maybe, I know that might be in the future, but potentially what it looks like?
Yeah, I mean, from day one, we decided to be a company that is not trying to disrupt what I think is a great industry of passionate people who care about others and want others to, want their people to progress and live their best lives. Like that does not need disrupting. So we clearly wanted to start a company that embeds in the industry. And embeds with great trainers rather than trying to put them out of business. So far, we're doing that. Most of the effort is in, if you want to do resistance training technology, you have to do it. You have to do hardware, because there's only so far you can get with bodyweight exercises and straps and mechanical bits and pieces. You have to do hardware. So the way we've developed our hardware is a way that is able to be, without too much effort, repurposed and put into different use cases and different environments. So the core technology of how we put tension on a cable is what we've spent most of our time and money developing. Then we package that all up in a very convenient box that can run into your home, but we can very easily package that up in another way, which bolts onto a selectorized weight machine and turns every piece of equipment in your gym into a smart, adaptive piece of exercise equipment. The hardware itself, the home hardware itself, is good enough to go in a commercial setting as well. And it's really thrilling to see that we're almost by accident we're solving problems for gyms as well as we go around safety and convenience. Form factor, which enables gyms to put more equipment in the same space, gets rid of heavy weight plates, which is a much safer thing in a busy gym. It gets rid of something which I hadn't really even considered until recently, which is the thud of when someone drops a weight plate, which some of us enjoy when we go to the gym, right? That's kind of, it's hardcore. It sounds great. But if you're on the third floor of a building, the guys underneath you don't think that's very cool. So Vitruvian technology gets rid of that as a problem for gyms about where they're able to site their equipment. And commercial operations they're longer conversations, and we're in the midst of a bunch of conversations at the moment in talking to gyms. We just feel that we've got something to offer, and I'm pretty sure they'll agree when we get through to them. We went on the company that led our seed round, this company called Evolution Wellness. They own a chain of gyms in Southeast Asia, And they are kind of like our test case of how we integrate into the gym environment, and we're starting to roll out kind of as of now through their gyms. That's going to be exciting.
And in terms of distribution now, are you shipping worldwide? Are you kind of limited at all by either logistics, supply chain, manufacturing, or how has that worked, both navigating COVID and then continuing to scale the kind of next gen products?
Yeah, it's almost killed us on a daily basis how hard it's been out there, just moving stuff around the world, finding parts. It's been hard, and every single company in this space will know what I'm talking about. But somehow we've done it through just not giving up. We've sold in 40 countries or more now, deliberately wanting to be global from day one so that we can reach as many people as we can and we can build a global community. And that's because that's part of the value proposition that, kind of Vitruvian, you could be training with, Sven in Norway and Olga in Sweden and, Joe in the US and Jon in Australia. That's part of the appeal, that you're a global part of a global community of people who enjoy working out and training. So I just look forward to doing that more and more in the coming months and years, really embedding this global community. We've been very deliberate that we've built a product that can be shipped and installed globally. It was a very hard thing to do, and maybe in hindsight that was a bit of a dumb thing to do, but the result is, I'm proud of what we've managed to achieve through really difficult times, really very difficult times to build and ship equipment, but a time when the world needed it. We did our best to supply some of that, a tiny bit of that need.
Yeah, and continuing to make progress. And I think maybe as we get towards the end of the conversation, looking ahead a little bit, you mentioned, having raised the Series A round this year, looking at getting the Gen 2 product out there, shipping. When you think about continuing towards that mission of building that global community and helping people achieve their kind of health and fitness goals, what is next kind of benchmarks that you talk about or think about, whether it's talking to the team or even thinking about, hey, these are the things that we need to accomplish, even over the maybe back half of the year, that puts us in a place that we feel, very solid going forward?
Yes, so we have quarterly plans, and we do them out to 2 quarters. So we have a pretty clear plan of knowing what we're doing for this next 3 months and then the next 6 months. And at the same time, you just have to be very aware of what's going on in the wider market and stay adaptable, because none of us know, actually, let's be honest. I was as surprised as anyone to see how Peloton got just completely wiped out in the public markets, because I think they have an amazing value proposition, and then they still do. So that surprised me, but that's affected all of us to some degree. And I don't know, you might know better than me, Joe, what we're in for the next 6 to 12 months with industry, with other players. Will there be consolidation? Will there be, will some people just exit? Will new players come up? I'm not sure. We just have to. So we have our 3 and 6 months plans to improve business efficiencies, focus on margin, deliver the best product and service that we can, and continue to build the community features. And continue to professionalize the entire offering. That's what is in our power to do, and I'm full confidence that we as a lean team will be able to do that, and that will just go straight to benefiting members. As to what's and then we just have to stay adaptable and try and stay in the game, because it's still a great game. There's still so much value to be given to customers around the world here by applying technology to resistance training. We're not giving up on that anytime soon. I can't tell you how it's going to play out, but we're here to play. I would not want to be any other company than Vitruvian right now as a founder and a CEO. We're not too big that we're stuck in very difficult cost and product architecture problems. We're not too small in the fact that it's going to be just tough to raise at the moment. And we're well capitalized. We're in market with a great product and a great value proposition. And we're careful, and we are aware of what's going on. So I don't want to be any other company than Vitruvian right now. And I think the world is still our oyster, and we still have a lot of customers to get out there and reach, and I plan to do that. That's how I'd answer what we're doing over the next 3 and 6 months. We'll stick to our plans and may very well throw them out the window if circumstances change. None of us knew how quickly the private capital markets were gonna swing. It's caught everyone by surprise. We're adapting to it as fast as we can, and ultimately we'll be a better company for it. But yeah, let's find out.
Yeah, maybe one more question down that path before we get you out of here is maybe your most recent round came together before this was more imminent, but given both Peloton's kind of, as you mentioned it, poor performance over the last year plus, but more recently since the start of the year, and also the pressures from inflation to recession to broader economic kind of headwinds, how much did that factor into this last round versus maybe even a year or 6 months before, where it was, the peak of that kind of workout from home, connected fitness gold rush to, where there was not enough money to go around, and so then that shift to, hey, now we're kind of pumping the brakes as it relates to not only this industry, but pretty much everything.
Well, in lots of ways, we missed that big up round, or that big, because we're about as far away from Silicon Valley as we could possibly be, and the US in general. In Western Australia, when we never really participated in all of that craziness. We kept working on that technology. We kept raising what we needed to, and so we haven't had a massive up round. We just turned out, and through the course of last year, I was like, I felt like a bit of a loser that I wasn't. All these companies around me are raising hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with Vitruvian? As it turns out, I'm actually pretty pleased that we stayed sensible, didn't get caught up in that hype, and because that's left us just in a much better position now to stick to our knitting and be the best company we can and build the best value proposition that we can and be here in the long term, which there's just no doubt in my mind that we'll do.
Yeah. And with that, you mentioned, being in a great spot, not wanting to be kind of any other company, couldn't imagine doing anything else. And wrapping up, for folks that are interested in learning more, want to check out what you're working on, follow along, where would you point them?
You should go to our website, vitruvianform.com. You should download our app either in the Play Store or the App Store. You should reach out. You can find me on LinkedIn. You'll find my email and phone number somewhere. I'm happy to talk. I love being involved in this industry. I'll talk to anyone who wants to talk. I'm thrilled to talk to you today, Joe. Yeah, reach out. We're just sitting here and we can't wait to engage with you wherever you come from.
Fantastic. Thanks for making time today, Jon. Super excited to share the conversation. I hope everybody does reach out and you get some good feedback and outreach from this.
Yeah, it was a pleasure talking with you, Joe. Thanks for having me on your show. You're a super credible guy yourself, and I enjoy listening to your podcasts and seeing the material that you post. Thanks for letting us be a part of your story as well. I really appreciate that.